Marcus Aurelius was the most powerful man in the world. He was the emperor of Rome. He commanded the strongest army on earth. He held near absolute authority over millions of people and had access to any pleasure, any comfort, any distraction imaginable. And yet, his private journal, written in the margins of war camps and military campaigns, is almost entirely about one subject: governing himself. Why would the most powerful person alive spend his nights writing about self-discipline? What did he understand about power that most people don't? Most of us think of discipline and freedom as opposites. Discipline means rules, restriction, denying yourself. Freedom means doing what you want, when you want, without anyone telling you no. But Marcus Aurelius believed this understanding was backwards. He argued that the person who does whatever they want is not free. They are the least free person alive, because their wants are not chosen. They are imposed by appetite, by fear, by habit, and by whatever feeling happens to be loudest in the moment. Think about what happens when you have no discipline over your own mind. Your mood wakes you up, and it decides what kind of day you'll have. Someone says something unkind, and it reroutes your entire afternoon. You feel anxious, and so you avoid. You feel angry, and so you lash out. You feel bored, and so you consume. In each case, you are not choosing. You are being pulled. And a person who is always being pulled is not free. They may live in a free country. They may have every political liberty. But inside their own mind, they are governed by forces they never consented to. This is where Marcus introduces an idea that changed how thoughtful people understood freedom for the next 2,000 years. It comes from Stoic philosophy, and it is simple enough to state in one sentence. Some things are within your power, most things are not. Your judgments are within your power, your choices, your responses. What you decide something means, these are yours. What is not in your power, other people, their opinions, their behavior, their approval. The past, the future, your body, fortune, death. The undisciplined person spends their life trying to control the things they cannot control. They try to make other people think well of them. They try to prevent loss. They try to force outcomes. And because they cannot succeed at any of this, they live in constant frustration and resentment. The disciplined person does something different. They accept that most things are not theirs to control, and they let them go. They focus entirely on what is within their power, their own thoughts, their own actions, their own character. And because they focus only on what is theirs, they can always succeed. Marcus put this with striking clarity. He wrote, "In those things that properly belong unto the mind, she cannot be hindered by any man. It is not fire, nor iron, nor the power of a tyrant, nor the power of a slandering tongue, nor anything else that can penetrate into her." He was not speaking metaphorically. He was making a practical claim about where real power resides. A tyrant can take your property, a disease can take your health. But no external force can reach the part of you that judges, chooses, and responds unless you let it in. This is what Marcus meant by freedom. Not the freedom to do whatever you want. The freedom to remain your own, no matter what happens. But here's a crucial nuance that most people miss. Marcus was not telling you to stop feeling. He did not believe in crushing emotion or becoming a stone. Sensations, the initial flush of anger, the ache of sadness, the pull of desire, these are natural. They arise unbidden. You cannot prevent them, and you should not try. But what happens next is within your power. The mind can notice the sensation and let it pass. Or it can start making judgments. It can say, "This is unbearable." It can say, "I must have what I want." And once those judgments take hold, the sensation becomes the master. Marcus wrote, "Let not that chief commanding part of thy soul be ever subject to any variation through any corporal, either pain or pleasure. Neither suffer it to be mixed with these, but let it both circumscribe itself and confine those affections to their own proper parts and members." This is what discipline means for Marcus, not the absence of feeling, the refusal to be ruled by feeling. The mind governs. It does not annihilate. It creates a boundary, feeling without being consumed. And this discipline does something unexpected. It does not just protect you from adversity, it uses it. Marcus used an extraordinary image. A disciplined mind is like a fire. When you throw obstacles at a fire, the fire doesn't go out. It consumes them. It burns higher. Even as the fire when it prevails upon those things that are in his way, he wrote, "By which things indeed a little fire would have been quenched, but a great fire doth soon turn to its own nature, and so consume whatsoever comes in his way. Yea, by those very things it is made greater and greater." What breaks the undisciplined person feeds the disciplined one. A setback becomes material. A difficult person becomes practice. A loss becomes proof that loss cannot reach what matters. And Marcus practiced this daily. Each morning, before the demands of empire pressed in, he rehearsed the difficulties he would face. He reminded himself that he would encounter ungrateful people, dishonest people, people who would try to obstruct him, not because he was pessimistic, because he was prepared. Discipline for Marcus was not reactive. It was trained before the moment of need. You don't wait for the crisis to learn self-governance. You practice it when nothing is at stake, so that when everything is, it holds. He also understood something about rest. People try to get away from it all, he wrote. To the country, to the beach, to the mountains, and then he called this idiotic. Because you can get away from it anytime you like, by going within. The disciplined mind carries its own refuge. It is worth remembering what Marcus's life looked like when he wrote these words. He was not in a villa contemplating ideas. He was in a military camp on the Danube frontier. His empire was struck by plague. A trusted general had rebelled against him. The wars were endless. Marcus was writing from the trenches. His discipline was not a theory. It was survival. It was the difference between collapsing under the weight of what he could not control and remaining his own. And this is where Marcus leaves us with a question that still matters. Are you free? Not in the political sense, not in the sense of having choices on a menu, but in the sense that Marcus meant. Are you the one governing your own mind? Or are you being governed by your moods, your appetites, other people's opinions, and the random events of your day? Because freedom, real freedom, the kind no tyrant can take from you and no misfortune can destroy, requires something most people are not willing to give. It requires governing yourself. Marcus Aurelius knew what it meant to have power over others. And he knew that the only power that mattered was the power over himself. The most disciplined person in the room is also the freest. Not because discipline restricts them, but because it is the thing that makes them their own.